Hey, 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 everybody. Welcome back to Fix Her Crown. This is the show where we crown the queens who are building, who are shifting, and who are showing up boldly for themselves and their communities.
Yeah,
Pressure made a diamond.
now she glowing in her purpose.
This one's for Coach Jenee.
God's gift.
For real. She came from pain, came from nights left alone. Taught to survive in a world turned to stone. Abandoned, abuse, pushed aside and ignored. But still she rose, grace walking through the storm.
I'm your host, Coach Jenee, your business startup strategist, resilience coach, and certified coach of life success. And today, we have a very special guest. You already know that I love a good comeback story, y'all. But today, we're not just talking about a comeback. We are not just talking about coming back once, but this is the second time she's been here, and we'd love to have her many times over. We're talking about what happens after the crown does get fixed. What does year 2 look like? What did she build within that year? What did she learn since then? And how is she impacting the next generation in the most beautiful way? My guest today is the founder of Kuties and Kupcakes, a one-of-a-kind mobile spa party bus experience designed just for young girls. She was here in season 1, episode 10, and the response was incredible. So we called her back, Miss Niki Pearson. I want to welcome you back to Fix Her Crown, love.
Thank you so much, Coach Jenee. I appreciate it, and I'm so glad to be here. I'm honored to be here. I really appreciate it. So
It's
thanks for
such a
having me back.
pleasure. It's such a pleasure to
Definitely.
see you again.
For me too, my dear. For me too.
Oh, you're sweet.
Always,
Nikki,
always. Yes,
I have been looking forward to this since we booked it.
me too. Me
But
too.
before
Definitely
we
been
dive
waiting.
in, for anyone who did not catch your season 1 episode, please
hmm
give us a quick version of who Niki Pearson is and what Cuties and Cupcakes is all about. Please.
Well, Niki Pearson is a trailblazer. So my idea behind Cuties and Cupcakes was to create something new and fresh, give girls a place where they were able to build self-esteem, self-confidence, where they could be themselves and be outside of themselves. And just a place where I was able to create something from my own mind and turn that into a reality, to be able to manifest something real. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always dreamed about doing it. And this is a byproduct of when you take those seeds that you're planting and you
Yes.
turn them into something real. And so we created the first and only one mobile spa bus in Vegas for little girls. And we wanted to do it in a way where we would give Vegas something fresh and new, and that's exactly what we've done. So I'm
Hey,
very proud of what we've created, and I couldn't be happier. So I feel extremely grateful for what I've done, and
and you
that's who
should.
Nikki is, and that's what we are. So
And I'm so, so proud of you, sis. I love that.
thank you, thank you.
It has officially been about a year since we
hmm
sat across from each other to chat
Yes,
about
ma'am.
this. And a
Absolutely.
lot can happen in a year, but
Yes.
let us start with your wins. I want
Okay.
you to brag a bit. Go ahead and brag on yourself because we do not do false humility here. We want to
Right.
hear what some of your biggest wins have been in the past 12 months.
Well, our some of our greatest victories or wins have been a higher revenue stream. I was actually able to make as much as I made at a actual job with my own business, which
Yes,
was a clock it, right? So it
yes,
was just amazing to see that I can create something of my own, which a lot of people can do. And you have these amazing ideas, and it can make you revenue. It can sustain your life. You can live on what you make and what you create. And then just me and my business partner have really just integrated ourselves into our business even more. So we've created more labs. We've actually taken on more event planning jobs. So we're kind of stepping outside of the scope of just the party bus. And now
Beautiful.
it's more about us doing events and venues and actually working with clients and doing balloon decor for people and creating other experiences that aren't just about the bus. So we've expanded that reach. And then just, more word of mouth, more bookings. We booked over 700 parties since we started.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yes, ma'am. So we have
700.
done 700. I counted it like
I'm not gonna
literally
let
like
you
a couple
skim
weeks
by
ago.
on that one. 700.
Yes,
Praise
700 parties.
God. That's beautiful. That is amazing. That is amazing.
um,
Congratulations.
Yes, but that includes events and community outreach things as well because we do a lot of that. So that includes events that we've done. That includes parties for kids. That includes some of our event planning things that we've done. Other things like sleepovers and things like that. But in culmination with everything, it's about 700 events that we have participated in, that we facilitated, that we hosted, that we've had some part in some way. And to come from just a seed in my head to what it is now, what it's manifested into, I mean, I
Yes.
I really see the power of the mind and what you can create. So
Yes.
I'm blown away by my own self. I'm kind of like, whoa, snap. So it builds your confidence too, So that's been a win for me. I've just become more confident in myself. I've become more assertive and more sure that I can create whatever I want, whatever I choose, it can be real. So that has been my greatest win. It's just seeing that I have the ability to create. I'm a creator. And I
Amazing.
really can manifest. So I'm proud. I'm proud of myself. Really, I am. So I'm bragging on myself a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. That's what this platform is for. So we can shine a
Right.
light on all of your
Absolutely.
wins. Now,
Absolutely.
let's keep it real because
Okay.
growth is never a straight line, is it?
Nope. No,
I
ma'am.
want to
Not at
ask
all.
you, right? I want to ask you, were there any pivots or any adjustments you had to make to the business since we last talked? Maybe something that didn't go
Yeah.
as planned, but turned into a
Absolutely.
lesson for you.
Absolutely. Financially, it was me having to learn to put certain responsibilities out of my hands where my expertise was not necessarily the strongest, and pass the buck to somebody who can handle it. I.e., that's my business partner, Monique. She's very good with money management and
Mhm.
she's very good with numbers and she knows how to, take those things and let you see your money and budget and make sure everything is allocated to where it goes. And then you're able to see it a little bit better. So for me, that's not my strong area. I've never been a budgeter. I've never been good at saving. I've never been good at seeing my money. So I was making a lot of money for the idea of what a normal person at a job is making what I was making at. So that means
Okay.
that's a good sign.
Okay. And that business comes first. I get it. I
um,
get it.
well, no, I didn't even take it. I just sent it to voicemail and I was like, I'll just call back when we finish our interview because I'm in the middle of doing something. You still have to prioritize. You still have to
Right.
make time for the things that you're doing. Business is important, but you still have to make sure you have your priorities in order. So this is what I'm doing now, and I'll get back to that after.
Well, that's a good
But
problem to have.
really, right, I know that's right. That's what I said. I was like, I ain't mad at it now. I was like, thank you. Thank you for calling. But no, the financial part has been the biggest pivot. That was the biggest thing that I had to adjust and recalibrate because I wasn't budgeting and bookkeeping the way that I should. So Monique, that was her strong area, and I had to
Good.
observe that. And I think that's important when you're working with other people, to find out what your strengths are and what the other person's
Absolutely.
strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and to be able to take those things and to use that as an opportunity to pass the buck to each person so that things get done in an effective way. Because what you
Right.
don't want to do is try to take on things that you're not good at, and then you find your business suffering, or you find yourself financially struggling, or things are not getting done the way that they should, because that's just not your area, and that's okay. It doesn't make you inadequate. It just means that that's just not what you're good at, and that's just something she's good at, or whether it's organizing or structuring, that just seems to be things in her particular makeup that allow her to excel. And then for me, it's more the creative brained type of person. So it's like the artist versus the business manager kind of thing, right? So it's
Sounds
like
like the
I'm
perfect
the
balance.
it is a good balance. That's why we work so well together. We really are perfectly synced when it comes to our work relationship because,
Good.
she balances all the business stuff out and handles those areas where I can do business things and I'm really good at um, certain aspects of business. But when it comes to those particular areas like organizing and finance and bookkeeping and accounting and things like that, those are just things that she naturally knows how to do. And then there's
So
me,
you do a
who's
good
more
synergy.
artistic.
Yeah,
Yes, very good synergy. So I had to readjust that and I had to pivot in that way to learn how to pass responsibilities over. And I had to also learn to be more trusting in my relationships with having people come and work with me because I've done everything myself from the beginning. I've always run my bus on my own. I did my finances myself. I did my decor myself. I did everything myself, built everything on my own. And then I had
goodness.
help, of course, from many people. But with her, it was like, no, I really want to be an asset to you. What can I do? Like, give me something. And so, in me giving her certain responsibilities or saying, well, I see that that's your strength because you can handle this. I've just been watching you. And I see that's what you are good at. Can you do this? It just was me growing in that way to say you have to relinquish things in order to grow. And people
Absolutely.
think that growth comes from just you making a lot of money and you building a business and buying more buses and you doing this and that. But growth is really about you learning how to delegate. And that's a good leader. When you
Right.
know that that's not your area and you're like, no, you know what? Like, I'm going to let you lead on this part, or I'm
I
going
hope
to
others
follow
can
your
hear
lead
you
on
on
that.
that. I really
Me
want
too.
others to hear that because as Black women, we have been taught
Yes.
to do everything and have our hands in everything, and we're spread so thinly. What one thing
Right.
are you doing well? So it
Right.
makes it easier and
Hmm.
much more effective to have the proper balance, like you have now. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest thing you know now that you wish you had known when we first talked? And it sounds like that might be along the same lines.
That's one of the main things. Is just financial literacy is really important in business. Knowing how to budget, knowing where your money is going, having an understanding of how those things work, and being able to like really allocate your funds intelligently. I think so oftentimes businesses could be more successful and people don't really see where their money is going because they're just throwing it all around. And I think for me, when I first started, it was the same attitude. I had the resources to do it
Yeah,
and I just wanted it to be successful and I wanted it to be great and I wanted to pour everything into it. But I was just buying things unnecessarily. I was doing a lot of things unnecessarily. I was paying for a lot of stuff unnecessarily. And I think what I've learned is just like having a plan, having a budget, having structure when it comes to your money, and really like your customers thing is like I am the biggest believer in like I want my customers experience to be amazing and I want
right,
them to have the best
right,
of everything. But
right,
our my understanding of how business works is that customers have no real expectations about what their experience is going to be like. The reality of it is that our gauge is really how our businesses are run. What we expect when we go and do a party for them is how we host it and how we set up for it and do all of that. Well, I have very extravagant tastes on how I want things to be. So that's why I spend a lot of money on a lot of stuff. And
well,
that's
that's
how
where
I live
that
my life.
management is important.
Right. And so
Yeah,
that's why with her, it's like with Monique, it was more like, okay, we're going to delegate this amount of money to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to, what are the things that we are, know that are staples for our parties and how are we going to do that? And what are we going to do? And how much are we going to spend on each thing? And it was itemizing things so that when we went to the store to buy what we needed, those things were already ready to go. And when you went over that, that was coming out of either your own pocket or you were done. You couldn't do anything else. And it caused me to start doing that, not over just in my business, but it also poured into my own life where I started to itemize what I was spending on this, or I was doing this, or I was doing that. And I was like, well, I'm doing, so it does become something of a pattern, and it becomes a part of your actual daily functions too, because now you're taking on what you're learning from your business into your
Right.
own life. So
It's
it's
real
been,
discipline, isn't it?
it has taught me a little bit about that. So that has been a big lesson for me, just learning about financial literacy. And then I learned that you don't, everything you buy from Amazon, you don't have to keep. I learned that too.
Ah, we have to remember what within 30 days.
No, man, yes, you do.
Within 30
But I'm
days.
saying, like, we buy so much stuff for party themes and buy things for parties. And a lot of that stuff we have in storage. That because at the beginning of my business, I didn't know that those themes are going to burn out. That
Right.
things would not be an asset to me in 2 years or 3 years. But now you have all this stuff from one theme and you bought it all and you spent all this money and it's just sitting there. When
Right.
and what I began to learn was, well, the things that I don't use anymore or the things that I don't need, why don't you just send those things back? Because Amazon could use it and sell it to someone else because you're not going to use it. It's just going to be sitting there. And then a
Right.
lot of themes are just constantly rotating and going and they're kind of phasing and fizzing out. Like
Right.
TikTok used to be really huge, and we have so much TikTok stuff, and now nobody doesn't. I mean, no one's asked me for a TikTok party in about 4 years, and I'm like,
Wow.
oh, what do I do with all this? You know what I'm saying? So that was the other lesson I learned was like, you save a lot of money by sending that crap back too.
Right.
So I sent a
Right.
lot of things back to Amazon because I don't need it anymore. I
Something
don't.
to
What am
keep
I going
in
to do with it
mind.
now? So,
Yeah.
hmm,
I said that's
yes,
something to keep in mind for sure.
yes,
Appreciate
absolutely
it.
for anyone. Yes,
Now,
little tip.
let us let us talk operations for a second since we touched on that because running
Okay,
a mobile business, I know is no joke.
no joke
So,
at all. At
um,
all.
what systems or what tools have you put in place over the past year to make things run more smoothly? Whether it's
Mhm.
more bookings, adding staff, logistics, what has changed?
Honestly, well, it's more so now the flow of our parties and stuff. We're just better organized. Like I told you with Monique, that's been huge. Like her organizing and structuring a lot of things. So we just kind of know where our parties are located, which is like, okay, well, where's this party going to be? Where's this party at? And how are we hopping from here to here? How much time do we have between each one? We prep during the week, which we kind of always did, but now we really kind of knock things out during the week to make sure that when we get to Saturday, when we get to Sunday, when we get to whatever, we're already prepared. We have everything. And that's the thing. Every party that we get, we kind of delegate our money towards whatever that party is. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm sending money for this. We're going to go do this. We're going to go buy for this party. Everything's already purchased for if we
Oh,
have
good,
multiple parties in a weekend, we go and purchase everything for everybody at one time. So then
good.
when we're prepping, everything's already done. Um, as far as staffing goes, it's always been me. Monique has now come in, more frequently. So she's there all the time now. We do every party together unless
Good.
one is gone.
Okay.
At first it used to be kind of like she would come in and out, or she would be doing a few, or she'd be like, well, I can't do this one, or whatever the case. But for the most part, she's always kind of done every party that she could. And
Okay.
now it's to the point where we do every party together. So it's always two of us. And then our kids are a big part of our business. So, if I'm like, I went out of town for another job where I did decor for somebody in California, and
Mhm.
she actually worked a party that we had on Saturday, but her daughter, her son, and her worked it. So it was all
Mm,
three of them working the party. So
beautiful.
we bring our kids in. If we need to do something, we don't really have a staff per se, but we have our children. We are building a legacy. My daughter's been there from the beginning. Monique's
Yes.
daughter has been there from the beginning. We used to work with our daughters all the time. Of course, we have teenagers, so teenagers start bailing out on you, like, I'm good, I don't want to go, like that.
They
But
get a
when
little
they were
bit.
younger, right. When they were younger, it was like, yeah, I'm going to every single one. And so for a long time, it was me, Monique, and our daughters doing parties. And then eventually they faded out, and then it was just me and her. And so every so often they'll make a little appearance and pop out and show. and be like, hey, she needed me. Here I am. But like for the
That's
most
great
part,
to have
it's
that
usually just
help,
us
though.
two.
That's
Oh
great
yeah.
to have.
We bring the kids in. Got the
As you were
babies in there
mentioning
too.
that, I
So
was just imagining uh, what it's like, or if you ever find yourself in this position. And I do like I used to live in the area, so I'm thinking if you have a party in
right,
Green Valley in the morning, and then you have a
right.
party in Summerlin or in Centennial Hills, how does that work out for you? I imagine that must make things
and you
crazy.
know and you know that. Oh yeah. We give ourselves an hour between bookings. So usually we're done with the party in Green Valley. We have about 30 minutes to get to the location to set up. Because as you know, we do set up prior to the party starting.
Right.
So we don't just get there and just start. But for the most part, I mean, we try to give ourselves enough time between parties, an hour to an hour and 30 minutes is pretty much efficient for us. Most of our
Okay.
bookings give afford us enough time. But yes, we do have those moments where it's like, ooh, we're coming from Henderson and going to, Summerlin and coming from Sloan all the way on the 15 where they
Right.
have the Ensenada over there now and everybody kind of we had a lot of bookings over there. And Henderson started to pick up on us. So we were Summerlin for a long time. And then
Yeah.
now Henderson moms are learning and they're starting to call. So we're doing a lot of more bookings in that area. So
Yes.
the backside of it is at 15, where you're over by like Seven Mountains and all that. Get
Oh
off on
yeah.
Sloan exit,
Oh
and you're
yeah.
coming from that, and you're hitting the 15 to go back
My goodness.
to Rhodes Ranch or something. And I'm like, oh Lord, that's gonna
Right.
be So you're getting there in like with
Right.
15 minutes to spare. Like, okay, give us a minute. But for the most part, we try to plan, we try to prep, we try to be on it. We do a lot of we know we got a short window. We do a lot of, okay, I'm gonna start breaking everything down. You go in there and sing karaoke. I'm gonna be up here knocking this down. I'm putting stuff away while we're doing this, trying to get ready so that when the party actually ends, everything's kind of put up. Or if we're doing labs and we're outside with the kids, Monique is inside cleaning before we get done. So by the time we're finished, and I'm like, okay, lab's done, we're ready to roll. She already cleaned the entire bus, everything's shut off, everything's put up,
Wow.
and it's like, okay, or I'll do it. And she's out there doing hers because certain labs are designated for certain people. So, like, I'm the
Right.
slime lab, she's the cupcake.
Right.
So, we kind of just tag team a lot. That's why I said we work really well together because what I am not focusing on, she's either focusing on it already, or if we're just in sync. Like, we'll be not even saying it. And it's just like, okay, she's doing that, and I'm already over here doing this. And so we never have to question each other and go, well, why are we doing the same thing? Somebody's always doing the thing that needs to be done. The other person's doing the other. So it works, and we
So
get it
that
done and we knock
definitely,
it out.
yes, that
Yeah.
definitely does
So
speak to adding and having staff, whether it was Monique or not. And thank God it was her because of the
thank God, I
synergy
know.
that y'all have together.
I'm so grateful for that. Yes.
That
I'm
that
grateful for
worked
her.
out beautifully. Now,
Absolutely.
marketing.
Mhm.
How are you getting in front of the right clients right now, and what is actually working for you?
Well, that's the area that we still are trying to like master, I think, because with
Okay.
marketing, it's very difficult. Back in the day, you used to be able to try to advertise yourself in a way where people weren't looking for you to pay them to do that. It was more like, we just want to get you out there, we just want to promote you or whatever. But now everything is pay for play. So it's like,
Yeah.
if you want to get on the news now, you got to pay $800 to do it. You got to pay $1,500 for a guest spot to promote your bid. I mean, people
Right.
are outrageous with it. And I think when I first started, people were willing to give you an opportunity. The first newscast I ever did was with a newscaster that was like, I love your idea, I love your bus. I love that you're a black owned business. I want to bring you on. And it was free. And it was a 3 minute spot. And it was on the news. And I did it and it helped. And for me, it's like now everything after that is just money, money, money. So what we do
Pay for
and what has
proximity.
worked for us.
Hmm.
Right. What we use Instagram, we use Facebook, and our biggest like promoter is word of mouth. All of our moms, they talk and they know each other. and they know somebody who's looking for
That's right.
something. And
Right.
we have a lot of that. Like I get so many moms that go, I was at a party that you guys did and it was just amazing. And my daughter already said she wanted this. And so
Yes.
here we are. And so for us, it's been that. It's just been, we have 5-star reviews. We're top rated. You know, we don't have any negative feedback at all, which I'm grateful for, which just lets
Yes.
me know to keep going with what we're doing because it's working. But that has really propelled us, the moms. Moms talk. And, you know, it's like, I'm getting my hair done and this woman was telling me about you guys, and I was like looking for something for my daughter, and my client told me, and that's how I found you. And da, 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 da. I mean, to the point where, to the point, I'm gonna tell you this story, like to the point where we went and I did a party, and I was by myself. Monique was out of town, but I was by myself, and we do a party, and um, like our business is for entertainment only. So you know, the kids do their own stuff. We don't really
Right.
do anything for them. They do
Right.
everything. But this mom, she booked us and she's like, what a cute idea. She worked for the cosmetology board and she's the compliance officer. So they
Oh,
look for people that are doing
I
things
know.
they're not supposed to be
I've
doing.
witnessed how
And
they.
I'm
I've witnessed how they do. Oh my good. On a
exactly.
this, I'll
And
tell
I'm
you. Oh
like,
my goodness.
and I'm like, and she's sitting there and she goes, oh my God, so that's what they do. And of course, we already have a formula and a system set up for them to get on. They do their nails, they do their own facials, they do everything for themselves. The only thing we do is really help the kids with their face gems and their hair glitter. And that's pretty much it because we can't do anything else. And
Right.
like, she's like, I just wanted to know how this was going to go. And I work for the cosmetology board and I'm a compliance officer. And I turned there, I was like, oh my God. But it's at that point to where it's like everybody wants to know, well, what do y'all do and how do you do it? And my daughter would like it to the point where their kids even like what we're doing. Like their kids, they work for the cosmetology board and they're like, well, no, my daughter wants to do it too, you know? So that's
Oh my
where we are with
goodness.
it. Just word of mouth, just people talking about it and going, look at this, and have you seen that? And oh my God, and you know, and then of course the positivity behind it of saying this was an amazing experience and
Yeah.
they're amazing and they're so awesome and you're gonna love them and they're so professional and all of that. And a lot of those things that we get, the feedback we get, I mean, it really makes me happy to know that we're doing a good job because that was the idea. I poured myself into it and the type of person that I am, I feel like is reflected in what Cuties and Cupcakes is. And I feel like people get to see that when they interface with me and when they interface with Monique, and they're getting that. So it's like, I couldn't ask for more than that, but that's our promotion. That's how we market. Most is word of mouth, most moms and, you know, other businesses and just people that have had the pleasure of knowing us, they go and run their mouth. And I appreciate
I'm so
that.
glad
That's all
for
I can
that.
say.
That is the best way, especially for a business like yours. And let me just say,
Hmm.
that compliance officer. Now, it could have happened to you, but the way I'm seeing it, that happened for you because that
Oh, it did.
sharpened. You know what I
It
mean? That
did.
sharpens you because
It did.
you tried to catch you slipping.
She did, and
But
it
and
and
I
it
want
and it did.
yeah,
It did. It was
and that
a
wasn't
wake up call for me to go. Wait, just be on your Q's and P's and make sure that you're watching because they're watching you.
right.
And I
Yeah,
think that's what we need sometimes is to be. We get complacent and we get comfortable in our spaces and
right.
in what we're doing in our flow of things. And sometimes, and that was just one of those weekends from hell anyway, where I had just had a weekend. It was just a lot going on,
It
and that
happened.
threw me because my mental was like not there. And when she came and said, and like you said, I agree with that, Jenee, because she could have easily not told me anything and she could have
Right,
just stood there and watched my process and watched what we did and there was nothing to see, but she
right,
could have never disclosed that. You see what I'm
right.
saying? And I would have
Uh-huh.
never known because I don't ask those questions. But again, like you said, it was for me. It wasn't to take away from what I'm doing. It wasn't to destroy what I built. It was
Right.
to put me in a position to be like, wait, stay vigilant, stay aware, keep your awareness up, and always be on your guard with things, or just make sure you always sharp and iron sharpens iron. So it's like, well, thank you for that
Absolutely.
that moment. Thank you for that
Absolutely.
opportunity for
Yes.
me to become aware again because my self-awareness
Yes.
must have been down. My
For you.
defenses might have been a little bit weak.
Yes.
And the universe was like, no, no, no. let's, bring it back up, heighten it back up. You got to be self-aware. You got to be, cognizant of what's going on. And so I'm grateful for that opportunity. It freaked me out at the moment, but after I was like,
Sure.
I think that
Well,
was
you'll never
for my
forget.
benefit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with
I'm
you
glad you
totally.
got through that. And when your customers, this is something that I speak when I'm doing business strategies. You We
Hmm.
love to have customers, but we prefer to have
Absolutely.
clients. And then when you get a
Right.
client, you prefer to have a loyal advocate. When you
Absolutely.
specifically, Cuties and Cupcakes, gain loyal advocates in your little missies that are getting services, then they're doing them
Yes, ma'am.
themselves. A loyal
Yes.
advocate can speak for you and state, "Oh no, I paint my own nails. Oh no,
Exactly.
I do my own." You understand what I'm saying? That way they can
Hmm.
tell their friends, and it's understood that no, I'm not getting services done by a cosmetologist. I have
Absolutely.
a safe space to have a good time and be entertained by this. And like you said, it's for entertainment purposes only. And when they can start
Absolutely.
repeating that, girl, you have a loyal advocate, not just the client, not just the
We do.
customer. Yes.
We
Imagine
have
the
a lot
people
of
that
them.
want Chick-fil-A and they know they can't go get it on Sunday.
Man,
That's
I'm
a
one of
loyal
those
advocate
that make
because
me
you
sad.
know. But
That make
somebody that's just a customer like me, I want a chicken sandwich on the side. I don't care what day it is.
Okay, but I'm sad. I'm like, why? I
Yeah,
want one right
yeah.
now. I'm like, I want one right
Now,
now.
let me give more. Let me just ask you. I have
Go
to.
ahead.
When you
Go
think about
ahead.
scaling Cuties and Cupcakes, what does
Hmm.
that actually look like for you? Does that look like another bus expanding to another city? Licensing? What is the vision to scale?
Well, definitely licensing and branding, merch, things of that nature. We've already applied for our trademark. So I'm trademarking my name. Yes.
Yes.
Because, it got to that point where that was the other change too. Like I trademarked, like went for my trademark and all of that to really solidify it, just to make sure that my intellectual property wasn't taken away from me because
Right.
I know that that was something unique and it's God given. And I'm like, you know what? I can't keep throwing it out there, because eventually somebody gonna look at it and go, that's
Yes.
a good name. And intellectual property is taking a lot. So you have to
Oh,
be
yeah.
vigilant with that. And most new businesses don't understand that having your paperwork in order, trademarking your name, trademarking your logo, things like that, those things just keep it where you're now protected from someone stealing your idea, because intellectual property is free. Anybody can take it from you.
Right. Right.
So we are doing that. So licensing, merch, things like that, having ownership of the name. Initially, my idea, because I think when we talked a year ago, that was the concept of me wanting to franchise my bus and like really build a franchise and all of that. Um, and the initial thing was a traditional franchising opportunity would be for somebody to buy into the business. I have ownership of the name, I have ownership of the branding. They structure it exactly the way I do, but they
Right.
take all of the profits and they make it, and I pretty much got to buy in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But after really watching models like, excuse me, In and Out, like Chick-fil-A and people like that, I would like to retain 100% ownership of my business. I don't want anyone to own a part of my business. So with franchising that way, the way that Chick-fil-A and them do, they hire managers. So people that pretty much manage your business in other cities, and they have a location, so they have a bus and they have your branding and they run everything like a franchise would. But the difference is they don't have an ownership stake in regards to like them owning it. You 100% own the brand and the name, and even
Right.
that particular bus. You still have ownership of all of that. They just are managing it for you. That's what
Right.
In and Out does. In and Out owns 100% of all of their locations, but they have managers. Well, Chick-fil-A is the same thing. They outsource it, but they don't give it over to the person. So the manager makes $50,000 a year off the franchise,
Right.
but they don't own the Chick-fil-A franchise. Chick-fil-A does. And so
Got it.
that's the idea of what I would like to do as far as franchising goes. I want to keep my brand. I don't want to sell it
Sure.
off into fragments and fragment it off, and then it's like run like how McDonald's is. I feel like McDonald's is like, because you go to one McDonald's, it's really, really nice in there. And they clean, and
Go
you
somewhere
go
else,
to another
something
one
watered down. Yes.
and it's dirty and the food is nasty and the people tell you they don't know what the machine does, and you be like, so for me, and that's my experience with
Yes. Yes.
it happened recently. So that's why I was like, oh no. But that is just, and me and Monique actually discussed it. Um, when we were talking about expansion and scaling, that's the idea, was just more of a model like how In and Out is, how Chick-fil-A is, where they retain the ownership of it, but they allow people to manage and run their, businesses in other places. And that's
Right.
pretty much what I would do. And I
You have
would
made
prefer to do
that
it that way. So yeah, like, so multiple buses in multiple cities is perfectly fine with me, but you're a manager. You don't
right.
own it. I do,
Right.
and she does. So it would be that way versus it being, us giving a stake of our company out. I just think that's smarter, and I like their business model, and I've been studying them for a while. And I just was like, that's just so smart to me. And you just leave that legacy for your kids too.
Oh yeah.
But that's what it looks like. It looks like more buses, expansion with licensing and branding, merch. Also, too, it looks like just event planning services and like really expanding beyond just buses. I want it to be a event company, where we can really do other things. It doesn't have to just be under the guise of a party bus. You know,
Right.
I want parties to just be our business if possible. And there's no limitations with cuties and cupcakes of what it can be. That's the beauty of it. Like, it can be whatever I want it to be. It can be
Yeah, you can
whatever I
be your
dream
own
it to
God.
be.
That's right.
That's the dope thing about creating your own lane and your own
Right.
thing, that I think a lot of people are afraid to do. Because I've talked to a lot of people since I started my business, and that was the thing. I've inspired quite a few people, and they're like, "Man, I mean, how did you?" And I mean, were you scared? And I mean, I'm thinking about, and I'm like, "Well, do it." I was scared. I was nervous. I didn't know what I was gonna do. The only thing I had that maybe you don't was some money and no other plan. So I think that pushes you to do something, because
Right.
you're like, okay, my kids got to eat, and I got
Yeah.
to come up with something. What am I going to do? I have this retirement. I'm sitting on something, and I need a plan, and that's where my mom kicked in. Thank you to moms, again, for just saying, hey, this is an idea. What do you think?
Bless her.
And she's the catalyst for this, and I always will give her props on that, because she
Absolutely.
always gave me ideas that worked for me. She could tap into what would work for me for whatever reason. She knew me that well, to where if she saw something that she felt like worked for me, she would hand it over. She'd go, well, you should do flight attendant because you like to do this, and I think you'd be good at that. That was a 16-year career. You should do this party bus because I think you'll be good at that. And that's turned into a business. That's turned into a whole brand and a dream and an opportunity for something amazing. My mom could always see the vision for me when I couldn't see it for myself. So I'm really grateful for that. And that's what it looks like. It looks like whatever I want it to look like. Whatever scaling
Beautiful.
to me is, we could do whatever we want to do. Where you
Yeah.
want to take it. Like,
That's right.
what y'all want me to do? Ask me to do something, because that's what it's been for the last 5 or 6 years. Is like, do y'all do face painting? Sure. Do y'all do balloons? Yeah. Do you like? And I
And do
know
now.
nothing. Like, I don't. I do now. Yeah, exactly. Do y'all do movie nights? Do y'all do this? Do you do that? Well, today I do, because
Yes.
there's no ceiling on what this can be. Only ceiling that's on cuties and cupcakes is on me, and what
Right.
I decide I can't do. But I can do this. I'm scaling it wherever I want to go. So you tell me what y'all want me to do next. And I'm like, yep, let's go.
Yes.
So,
That speaks to one of my favorite scriptures. I can do all
uh-huh.
things through Christ who strengthens
Absolutely.
me.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, and
Absolutely.
I love that you can see this so clearly because
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
what vision does. It pulls you
Hmm.
forward, even on the hardest days you have to deal with. And speaking of hard days, what is still the hardest part of running your business right now? If you can be honest about what the hardest part that you're dealing with right now.
I mean, the hardest part about running it is just I haven't peaked the way I want to. Like you're still trying to, you still in grind mode. And I think it's the breaking season. It's that season of you being broken so that
Hmm.
you can be rebuilt into
Right.
something better. And I'm the type of person like I respect the grind and the hustle so much of everything in life. Like as
Yes.
much as I hate going through it, like as much as I don't like to struggle and to grind and hustle and the grit of it, that is the part of my experiences that when I look back on them when I've achieved my goal and I'm like, well, what now? Because I done made it to the
Next.
mountaintop. Now I'm at
Yeah.
cliff top, as
Yes.
Will Smith said. I'm there. I'm at the pinnacle. I've made it. It was the hustle. It was the grind. It was the anticipation. It was the grit and the journey that I respected and I appreciated the most because as a flight attendant, that was my dream and goal the whole time was to make it to where I topped out and I was making this amount of money and I was able to fly when I wanted to and I was able to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And literally, when I got to that point, I quit and retired and went to do this.
So when the thirst
That's
and the
me.
hunger stops, you might be a little concerned about getting comfortable.
I feel like I feel like I'm going like I don't like this part. I don't like this season at all. You're struggling. Entrepreneurship is not for the weak. You don't
No.
have the financial backing that you need. You don't have the security that you want. Everything fluctuates. It's up and down, and everything is on you. If something happens, you're responsible.
Mhm.
Nobody's gonna come and save you. Nobody's gonna fix it. Nobody's gonna, if your bus breaks down, nobody's gonna, if something's wrong with it, you got to come up with that money. You have to do what has to be done to continue to keep things flowing. I think too often times we don't talk about that part of entrepreneurship and we just say, well, go
Right.
start that business, girl, and
Right.
go do it. No,
Right.
you have to be a very resilient person to do it because you're going to have days where you're going to want to say, F this, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, just, I need to go get a job. Like, forget it. You know what I'm saying? Or if you have a job already, you're just going to be like, I quit. I've seen people do it in
Yeah.
my industry where they had bus and they sold it because it just wasn't doing what they wanted them to do. It was too much overhead and they've gone back to corporate America. They've quit. They've left it alone. And
Right.
for me, I kind of put myself in the position where I had to stay with it because I didn't have anything else to go back to. It was like I
Everybody's
don't
not
have a
like you are. Everybody don't have that
no.
same grit and that same
I
drive.
know,
Yeah.
but I don't
I
like it.
really do
I don't like this
appreciate
part.
that.
This season sucks. This
Yeah.
season sucks. I'm gonna tell them the
Yeah.
truth. But I will say this: That's the part. It's like the grit, the hard part. This is hard. It's not, and I'm there. So what's hardest about it is just getting through this. Like really getting to the point where I see the end results of it. Like where I get to the success and I go, oh my god, okay, now I'm consistent. I have the money
Mhm.
that's supposed to come with this.
Yeah.
Everything is aligned for me, but I will miss this. This is what I'll think about when I get there. I'm gonna go, remember when I was struggling with that bus and I was up there trying to do this? And those are the things you tell the story. You don't tell people your story when you're successful. You don't go, hey, oh my God, I'm living in the house that I want to live in because I worked so hard. When you tell someone your story and they ask you, well, how was it being an entrepreneur? How did you get here? And they want to talk to me, or you want to talk to
Ooh,
me
journey.
3 years from now, and me and you talk, and you go, well, Nikki, tell me, you're successful now. You got this going on. You got these many buses. You did this. So tell me, what was it like, girl? Let me tell you, it was so hard. And I remember the times when I didn't have this, and me and my kids, I had $6 for it. That's what you're gonna hear, and
Yeah.
those are the stories. So that's the hardest part. Is just
Yeah.
getting out of this season to get to the good season, to look back at this season and go, whew, man, made it.
Hey.
So that's
Yeah.
the hardest part is getting out of this. And I'm still in the mud. I'm in the dirt right now. I'm digging and I'm seeing the light, but it's still hard, and you get depressed and you get down and you get like beat up and you go, did I make the right decision? Like you're constantly questioning yourself. I question myself
Oh,
every day. Like, did I do the right? Did I mean, shit, maybe. And
yeah. Make
at
the
this
right
point, people
move.
go, "Well, it's done." Yeah, like people go, "It's done." Like, what you gonna do? You can't go back. But I mean, you still question yourself because you're like, I could be solidified right now. I could be retiring. I could be have a great 401. I could. be making this amount of money and traveling here, and my kids, we could be going here. And I was there. I was at Cliff Top. I had the money, I had the career, I had everything I needed to have a dope 40s and 50s and 60s experience. And I
Yes.
gave it all up to do something that was in my head, to go,
Legacy
I want to be a
building.
business owner.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's making me emotional. I don't want to cry because I cried the last time I was on here. But it's hard. Like to start over at 40 feels like
Yeah.
it's like being a 20-year-old. That's what it feels like. I feel
Yeah.
20 years old
You
because
feel
when
like
I was 20, I
you
was
just got here. Yeah.
struggling.
Yeah.
Right. When I was 20, it was a struggle. When I was 20, it was new. It was like you're doing everything for the first time again. And to take success and to go, oh man, I made it. I'm here. I got success. I've been working all this time.
But you know what I
And you
hear?
don't get it.
You're not gonna take it for
What do you
granted
mean?
either. Not one
Oh
bit.
no.
Not
When
one
I
bit.
do get it, oh, I'm gonna be like kissing the floor. Like, woo, we here. Thank you. I never want to do that
Now,
again.
don't be like those multi-platinum rap artists that when they were hungry and they were grinding, they were so good. Kanye West. But now they got off.
You know what?
I
I'm gonna
can't
say
lie.
this because I
Yeah.
love Kanye West, and the reason I love him is because I
Mhm.
saw an interview with him, and he told him he said that he was raised to believe he could do anything. Well,
That's
in
right.
believing you can do anything, you are arrogant. You have to be because to think you can touch and do whatever you want. If I want to go play in the NBA, I believe I can do it. And the guy was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, come on, dude. Like, no." He's like, "No, I really believe that." And it's like, to me, it takes a certain level of arrogance and a certain level of cockiness to be able to do anything you want to do.
Yes,
Because
but you have to
so
be
many people are
careful.
going to tell you can't.
Arrogance without authority,
I agree.
that's a problem.
I agree.
So his mother poured into him, and I don't want to
She
get all
did.
into that. And she just
But she's like, I got my insights on that one.
well,
Right.
your mother is still pouring into you. Just like my father, he's on
That's
the
true.
other side, he's still pouring into me. And
Absolutely.
for his sake, I hope Dr. Donda is still pouring into him and we can get that
She is.
old Kanye that we used to, that got
That we
us
used to love and know.
to that level. Yes. So
Right.
don't
Absolutely.
take it for granted. And that's what I hear you saying. I appreciate that so much. I really do. But now I want to shift into something that's really the heart of this episode, if I can.
Okay.
Okay.
Please.
Honestly, it's the reason why I wanted to have you back, specifically this season. Okay. We touched on some self-care issues briefly in the first season, but today I want to go a little deeper because Niki, you're not just throwing birthday parties, as you mentioned. You are
Right.
teaching little girls something. I want to know about
We
what
are.
made you feel called to create a self-care experience specifically for young girls. Hey, Fix Her Crown family. Stay tuned for episode 5, part 2. We want to hear a lot of what Niki Pearson has to say from Kuties and Kupcakes. See you back on the other side. Thanks again. Bye for now.
Yeah.
Pressure made a diamond.
Now she glowing in her purpose.
This one's for Coach Jenee.
God's gift.
For real. She came from pain, came from nights left alone. Taught to survive in a world turned to stone. Abandoned, abused, pushed aside.